So welcome to the last session. I know that the happy hour is next, but I think this will be a pretty fun session because we'll build the real app. And what's even cooler, I think, you guys will be able to run it. You guys all have phones, right? So you'll be able to run the app. Anyhow, so my name is Katz. I'm from Apri.io. And how many of you heard about Apri.io before? Okay, a few folks. But it's good. Most of you didn't, so that's why I'm here. Anyhow, so let's start. So there is a big problem in enterprise mobility. And do you guys want to guess which one? Or maybe you're thinking there are many problems in enterprise mobility. But I'm going to actually show you some quotes from really smart folks, and then it will give you a really good idea the problem that I am referring to here. So this is a quote from Forrester, and the source is at the bottom, is that there is a demand for high-velocity app development, right? And the demand is so high that the IT department just cannot keep up with the demand for mobile apps, right? Just people want too many mobile apps. The existing IT infrastructure cannot deliver the apps within the time that the users want the apps. So this is from Salesforce. So again, the gap between business demands and delivered apps is creating a huge IT deficit, right? So again, this is from Salesforce. So this is from Progress Software CTO, and basically she's saying that you cannot wait anymore, 12 to 18 months to build a mobile app, right? I mean, 18 months is almost 2 years, right? We don't know what version of Android or iOS will have in 2 years. So, the traditional way of delivering, probably web applications where you do it in 12 months is just not working for mobile. I mean, what you really want, that's the second quote there, is that you want to be able to deliver something really fast. I mean, within weeks, and have a release maybe every month. Right, so this one is from actually from Oracle, and again, it's basically same thing, that you cannot wait anymore 12 to 18 months to deliver a mobile app. Most people expect a mobile app to be delivered within weeks and even days sometimes. All right, so this is from eWeek, and again, same thing. That basically IT teams need to be able to deliver apps fast, and also need to be able to push updates very fast. All right, and this is also kind of fun. So 85% of companies, and this is from a survey that was done. So 85% of companies have a backlog of 1 to 20 apps, and then 50% have 10 to 20 apps, right? And you can see an average app taking 3 to 12 months to build. So this is the problem that I mentioned at the beginning. So basically, there's a huge demand for business or enterprise mobile apps. So again, the key is that we're talking about business apps or enterprise apps, right? We're not as much talking about consumer apps. So this is not for building your next Angry Birds, for example, but this is for productivity apps. So there is a huge demand. Existing IT infrastructure just cannot keep up with the demand. Right, and when they do deliver apps, right, you can't wait anymore for 12 months, 18 months or even more, right? You need to be able to have an app fast, give it a couple of weeks, first version, push an update in a couple of weeks again, and so on. All right. So, kind of ended up on the second line there. So I think we can solve these problems with Apri.io, and actually I'm going to build an app and kind of demonstrate how we solve this problem. All right, so Apri.io is a cloud platform for creating and also running mobile apps. So it's entirely in the cloud. It means there's nothing to download, nothing to install, right? So you develop the app entirely in the browser. And the key is that it makes it really possible to build API-connected apps fast, right? Using various visual tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this diagram to give you an overview of the platform, just kind of a little bit more deeper dive, and then we'll actually spend the rest of the time building an actual mobile app. All right, so starting on the where you see apps, right? So the first, what kind of apps can you build, right? So basically, there are 3 types of apps you can build today. That's native, right? Mobile web, and that's in the middle approach is the hybrid, right? So here you can build HTML5 mobile apps, and you can also build hybrid mobile apps, right? So we use PhoneGap or Apache Cordova. So just the standard stuff that you get there. And again, you can build for iOS, Android, and Windows Phone. Moving to the middle section here, the Visual App Builder is one of the core features. It's actually where you build the actual app UI. All right. So you also have access to the source, right? So visual tooling, sometimes people, oh, you know, I don't have access to the source. So you do have access to the source. So if you want to and you need to, and you can always write any custom code. And custom code in this case being JavaScript, HTML, CSS. You can import any third-party libraries. Entirely up to you. All right. Right here we got custom components, templates, and that's again just to simplify app development. And then plugins. These are extensions or kind of sample apps that you can start kind of as a starting point for your app. As for the frameworks, what's under the hood, and we mentioned, right? So it's HTML, JavaScript, CSS, jQuery mobile. Right here in the small it says Angular, Bootstrap, and Ionic. So we actually already have support for Angular and Bootstrap, right? It's still in beta, but it's already out. And we're working on Ionic, which is a mobile framework for, again, creating hybrid mobile apps. And again, Apache Cordova, and then you can also include third-party plugins if you would like. So you can see the stack is pretty standard, right? So there is now nothing proprietary, no proprietary frameworks. It's HTML, JavaScript, CSS. It's jQuery mobile. It's one option. You can do Angular with Bootstrap is another option. And then Apache Cordova is, of course, that what gives you access to device APIs, right? You can package the app for the platforms that you see right here, and then you can also access device APIs. So backend services, right? So we also got integrated backend services, and you guys might have heard sometimes referred to as MBaaS, Mobile Backend as a Service. So if you want to host an HTML5 mobile app, you can do it with our platform. There's a cloud database, and that's MongoDB. We got push notifications. We got server code, and that's Google V8 JavaScript engine, right? But you can write custom app logic on the server using JavaScript. And this is a secure proxy. This allows you to keep sensitive app data on the server. So when you're building an HTML5 app or hybrid app, if you put any API keys in the app, right, someone could actually look at your app source and see that information. So there is an option to keep that information on the server, so that's not available in the app. All right, so I'm going to skip to the APIs, and I'm going to come back. So we also make it incredibly simple, easy to connect to any third-party API. So anything available on the internet. I mean, from obvious, you know, like Facebook, you know, Twitter, maybe Salesforce. I mean, all the way to use government. Anything in between. As long as the data source is exposed via REST API, you can easily connect to it. And so today I'm actually going to be using Twilio. You guys heard about Twilio? Yes, no? See some. But basically, they allow sending SMS messages and MMS messages and some other stuff via REST APIs. All right? All right, so I'm going to come back here. So this enterprise integration is tied into this enterprise. So the basic idea is that if you have any, you probably do, if, any enterprise systems which are not yet REST exposed, such as a relational database, for example, or a web service, or LDAP, or any custom data source, you can use this integration layer to connect to your enterprise system, expose it via REST API, and then as I just said, as long as any data source is exposed via REST API, you can easily use it when you're building your app. All right. Lastly, right here, so native test app. So when you're building a hybrid mobile app and you're using native APIs, right, you have to install the app on your phone for testing. That's one option. So we provide a special app that you basically just tap on the app. It will download the app to your phone, and you can test it as a native or a hybrid app. So you don't have to install it. You don't have to run any other tooling to test the app. All right, and we'll do that today. All right, and lastly, the very last thing is that the team management. That's basically you can build a team of developers. You can invite developers to join to build the app with you. You can define roles, permissions, and so on. All right. One more thing I want to mention before we jump is that it's for deployment, right? So the app, right, if you build HTML5 mobile app or hybrid mobile app, it runs on the phone, right? It runs in a browser or it's installed on the phone. Now, and it simply talks to some API backend. This API backend can be a third-party API, like we're going to be using Twilio. It can be maybe connecting directly to your enterprise, might be connecting through this integration layer, it might be connecting to a service via server code. But the key is that your app runs on the phone and it talks to some API backend. That's the deployment model, right? And it's obviously not specific to Opry.io. That's how every app works. All right, so this is what we're going to build, right? So we'll build the app UI, and again, we're going to be using HTML5, jQuery mobile. We'll do SMS integration. We'll use Twilio. We'll save messaging to a cloud database that's MongoDB. We'll add a barcode scanner, right? As an example, we can, oh, I actually forgot to get a bottle. Maybe I'll borrow your bottle. You can scan a QR code, right? We'll be able to scan a QR code, or we can maybe send it as an SMS message. We'll use a server script code, and then we'll build the binary for Android, and then we can install the app on the device. If there is time, I can also set up push notifications. Those of you who install the app, you'll be able to actually get a push message. All right?
You mentioned it's cloud-based. Is it tied to any public cloud vendor, or is the infrastructure for all this learning taking place?
It's in the cloud. On, you mean where it's running? On Amazon. Yeah. All right. So let me go to the platform, and all right. So I'm going to. So these tabs here, they sort of represent the main features that I mentioned. But I'll start by creating a new app, and we'll call this Devnexus app, and click create. All right, so we got our app. This is just like a start page with some information, various links and so on. So now, this is your project structure, and then there is always a first page that comes with every app. And this is how it looks, right? So this is your phone, this is your device, and these are mobile components. So right now, these are jQuery mobile components, and some HTML5 just elements such as audio, video, the Google Map component. But again, the key is that that's just standard, again, jQuery mobile or HTML5 elements. So now, let's build the UI. So we're going to first connect to Twilio, right, just to send an SMS message. So first I'm going to change this to app. And I'm going to get an input component. And I'll get a text area. And I'll get a button component. All right, so this is obviously pretty simple, but you can see how fast it is, right? So we built, it's obviously a one-page app. It's static for now. And we can make some changes, of course. We can make this a number. And we change this to a telephone type. This will be the message. And this will be sent. All right? What's also really nice is that anytime once you put even a single component on the page, you can test right in the browser. Because you're starting with an HTML5 mobile app. So clicking test, there's a test button. All right. So this is the real app that runs. So this frame is just kind of for us, but this is the real app. If I want to, I can remove the frame, and of course, it just runs in the browser. All right. So what I also can do, I'm going to change the theme, change the look and feel, and then I'm going to make this app public so you guys can actually try it, right? And you'll be able to update the app each time I make changes. You just refresh the app, you'll get the changes. So we can customize. These are we have different swatches, right? That's from jQuery mobile. We can also import a new theme, and that's done via the plugin mechanism. And I'm going to import one called Material Design that's based on Google's Material Design. And I go to Project, App Settings, and now I have a new theme, and I select it. And so you can see now it's purple and it's more square. And we can, of course, use, do you guys have any preference for theme? Any color? All right, I heard red first. So we'll stick with red. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make it public. And so public. Now, so this is a pretty long URL. I mean, obviously, I don't expect you to type it. Let me launch it again. But so what I'm going to do is two things. First, I'm going to come back to this. If you have a QR reader on your phone, you can scan this QR code and launch the app on your phone. I'm also going to create a bit.ly URL. All right, so just give me a sec so you can type. It's much simpler to type a bit.ly URL. All right, so give me a sec here. And I'm going to use numbers. It's actually easier to type in numbers on the phone. So I'm going to use the time. So it's 5:48, and then again 5:48. Let's see if it's available. No, someone took it already. 9. And this is taken. Okay. 5:49. We'll go with letters, I guess. Devnexus save. All right, so this is the this is the URL. So if you guys want to, all right. So this is the URL bit.ly 549 Devnexus. Those for you, right? And I'm going to go here, open this. All right, so here we go. You guys can scan this QR code, and I'm going to make it bigger also here, so it's easier to scan. All right, so let me know when you get the app. All right, did you guys get it? All right, very good. So again, this is a real app. Right now, it's a browser app or HTML5 mobile app, right? So this is for the UI, right? Now we're going to build an additional page, but now we're going to connect to Twilio. Let me go back to. All right, so Twilio is right here. All right, so this is their dashboard. And again, if you're not familiar with Twilio, they provide API to send SMS messages, MMS messages.
So the UI builder, how different is it from the Ionics UI builder?
It's different. Well, first of all, this one right now that I'm using is jQuery mobile based. It produces a jQuery mobile app. I think the Ionic one, are you talking about the creator? Yeah, so that's for, right, that's for Ionic components and Angular. But as I understand, their stuff is just a UI creator. But you're going to see just in a second, so you can connect to a backend, to an API backend. So this is so Twilio, yeah. So MMS, SMS messages, you can do some other stuff. So in general, and you guys probably noticed, so the whole idea of sending text messages has become very popular now. Many services use SMS, Uber, for example, to send messages, and many other services. So you can actually, using Twilio API, you can build the option to send SMS messages from your app, right? Not using the native client, but actually from the app. And so this is their dashboard, and they show how do you set up the request. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a test message, right, from their console to my number. And I'm going to say hello from. All right, and you can see once I enter it, let me make this a bit bigger. So you can see how it says a to number, from number, and then the body. And so this from, right, that's that's my Twilio number. So when you sign up for a Twilio account, you get a Twilio number from which the messages are sent. So I'm going to click now. Let me increase the volume so you guys can. So make request. Right, and so so I just get a text message, right? But this is just to test the Twilio API, right? Nothing to do with Apri.io, right? But this is just testing. So it works. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to use this information, right, to define a service or register a service in my app, right? And when using Apri.io, you always want to see the curl. I mean, you can see there are different libraries here, right, depending on which language you're using. When you're creating a service in Apri.io, curl, that's what you want to use. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this URL. And I'm going to say create, and then service. Right, and I'm going to paste the URL. Now I'm going to go back, and I need, so this is my username, and this is my token here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the URL right here. Now, this is not, I mentioned there is a secure proxy, right, to keep sensitive data on the server. So this is not the most secure way of doing things, right, because someone can just look at the app, right, look at the app source, and they can, once they get this information, anyone can use my username and my token to send messages, right, using my account. I'm just doing it just to save time. As I said, you can keep this information on the server, right, so this information is not visible. But in general, obviously for HTML5 mobile app, right, looking at the source is incredibly simple, right? You just do in the browser view source. But even if you compile for Android, for example, right, you can still decompile stuff. So it's a few extra steps, but you can still, right, see the stuff. So you definitely, in some instances, you want to keep this information on the server, right, and not, hope that someone won't be able to decompile or find your stuff. All right, so now we're going to change it to post, and then we have to be URL encoded here. And then I'm also going to use a proxy. Now, the proxy in this case is a little bit different. It's not a secure proxy. So Twilio, out of the box, they don't support cross-domain calls. All right, so I need to go through a proxy because I'm going to be running the app from the browser. Right, when you install the app on the phone, the cross-domain issue doesn't play a role anymore. But this particular service, they don't support cross-domain calls, so I have to go through a proxy. So we go to request, and I'm going to say to, from, and then body. Now, going back to Twilio, I'm going to get the from number. Right, I'm going to set it as default. Now I can go to test. Right, so I can test the same way I tested on Twilio side. I can test from here. So I'm going to enter. Right, and click test, right, and same response, right, and just get a text. All right, so we're testing the live service, we're making sure it works, and I get this JSON back, right. Now I need to create the service response, right, so I created the input, that's the 3 parameters, now I have to create the service response. So I would need to basically, this is my response. Now I don't want to do this by hand, so I can automatically parse this, so import as response. And what happens is basically we parse this JSON, and this is what gets created. This is very simple and fast, right? So I obviously could do this by hand, but it's very easy to make a mistake, right? So this is much faster. So we define this service, right? We really registered the service, right? The service already existed, correct? So we just registered the service, we tested the service. So the next step is to add the service to the page. So I've got the service right here. We're going to go to start screen. And notice I'm in design view. I'm going to switch to data view and service. All right, and now I have to bind the service to the page. I'm also renamed this send SMS. So before send, these are standard jQuery callbacks when you do an AJAX request. So first I'm going to do the input mapping. And this is my page, and this is my service. So this is the number. I'm going to map it. All right, Pretty simple. And right, so you can see it says JS here. So if I need to, I can write JavaScript, right, before the mapping or after the mapping. And then, of course, this value is set for me, is a default value. That's all I need to do. Now, on the success, so this is what I get back from Twilio. Well, I guess we could display maybe the SID. This is the SID is the ID of the text message. And then you can use the SID number to get the status, right? You can check the status if the message was delivered or not. So as an example, let's go back quickly to the UI. And maybe we'll just drop a label here. And we'll go to back here. And we'll expand. And, all right. So right here, error, and right, if there is an error of some sort, right, I can handle an error. And just let's do this. So for example, I can run JavaScript. So as I mentioned, you can always run JavaScript, and there are many places. And if you can run JavaScript, that means you can run anything you want, right? Because keep in mind, the app runs in the browser. So if there is an error of some sort, we can just keep it really simple. We can say alert, error sending message. Use double quote. All right? And the last thing we need to do is, when I click the button, I would like to invoke the service. So I select the button. I have Events tab already opened here. And so click, and I'm going to say invoke service, and that's the service that I have. All right? And I'm ready to test. And so if you guys refresh on your phones, you can send a message, right? You can send a message to me, or you can send a message to yourself if you would like. So all right, so you can see the result, the SID, that means, right, and I just got the message. All right? So, but just make sure you refresh. All right, did you guys get it working? All right. I got a text. Someone said, cool. All right? Anyhow, so, I mean, it's obviously a simple app, but at the same time, it's a real app, right? It's a one-page mobile app that talks to a real API backend. And in this case, it's Twilio. All right? But we're not done yet, right? So we're going to add a second page so we can actually save these messages, right? So let's say you're building, right, your app, your business app, you're sending messages, but you want to save them. All right? All right. Okay, so let's do that. Now, but I'm going to do this a little bit later, but just let's say this is the app, right? I can now go to export and I can launch a build, right? And it will package the app as Apache Cordova app or a phone app or a hybrid app, however you guys call it. Right? I will download the app, and then you know, for Google at least, you know, I'm 5 minutes away for publishing it to Google Play, and then 10 minutes later it's there. iOS obviously is going to take a little bit longer. All right, but we'll come back to this. All right, so backend services. So I'm going to click on database, and I'm going to create a new database, and we'll call this the same as the app. DB, click create. All right, and so once you create a database, you get 3 collections, and this is MongoDB. You get 3 collections out of the box for every database. So users, this is for user management. Files, this is for uploading files. Now devices, this is for managing push. So when you enable a push in your app, Every time when you launch the app, right, the device will register in this collection. And then when you send the push, you can do filtering, right? You can say maybe send the push message to only particular users, for example. So all the information that you need will be in that collection, so you can filter. What we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new collection, and we'll call this messages. And then we're going to create 2 columns here. So this will be a telephone. I made it a string, but it can be a number, of course, as well. And then the actual text. Now, if I want, I can enter some sample data. All right. Now, but what's really nice is that anything you do in the backend services, they're instantly exposed via REST API. And in fact, you can look at the curl command, right? So I can basically take the curl command, right, and set up a service the same way I did with Twilio, correct? So if you give me a curl command, right, that's all you need. You can easily set up a service. But what's nice is that I don't have to use the curl command, because I can go to create new, and I can say database services, and I can select the database that I just created, which is right here, and I can automatically generate the services that I need. So I'm going to say create and list. So create, that will save the message into a database, and then list will give me a list of all the messages. So import, all right, and my messages, my 2 services were instantly created. I can open one of them, and this is just a list, and I can go to test, and I should get 1 message back, right? The sample that I created. That's right. Now I can quickly go back. I say I don't want this message, so I can just delete it. And if I go back, of course, I get nothing. All right. So now let's add this service. Let's add this service to the page, and we go back to here. So data, and this will be create. This is save SMS, and then the mapping. So this is the number. It's going to map to the telephone, and then this is the message. Now this ACL here, this is for access control list, if you can actually add security, right? So for each record you can add security. We're not just going to do it. But obviously when you have a login screen, right, when you have users, you can set up security, so when you log in, you'll see only your objects, of course, or your messages, right? That's it here. I mean, there is nothing. This is for creating, right? On the return, we get nothing, so we don't need to do anything. Now, as for invoking, right? So because this is JavaScript, so we want to make sure that the message is first sent, right, and only then save it into a database, correct? So right here, on the success callback, right, we are going to say invoke service, and we're going to say save SMS. All right, so we're going to send an SMS message, and then once it was successfully sent in a callback, we're going to invoke the other service. All right. Now let's create a second page. Right. What color did we? Red. All right. Blue. You can do blue. Oh, hold on. Let me just. Oh, I changed. Okay. This is blue? All right. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it actually happened to me once. I got into a loop. Yeah, it's actually pretty cheap to send messages, so but thank you. So yeah, so this has to be save. Thank you. All right, back to this page. we're going to say this is maybe history, and now we'll get a list component. Now we only need one item because we're going to be iterating over a list, right? So we just need, this is the template basically. And the list is going to be read-only, so we can actually drop the icon. We can say no icon, all right? Now inside, we're gonna put, actually, we're gonna drop a label, and then one more label, and then we're gonna just make some changes here with the margins, something like this. All right, now we go to data, and we select service, and list service. Now there's nothing for us to do in the input mapping because we get the entire list. We're going to go on the output mapping, and we're going to say this is the collection of all the items. We're going to map it to the list itself, and then we're going to, the telephone will go to the first label, and then the text will go to the other label. Right, back on the page. We have to now invoke the service when I click, right, when I navigate to the page. We're going to say on page show, invoke service. I didn't rename it, so this is fine. All right, and the last thing is we need to go back here and we can add put a menu, a button, and we can say history, and then navigate to, it's a screen 1. All right? So now we just added the option to save messages into a cloud database and also display the messages on the second page. So let's run this. Now if you guys refresh, you can do the same thing. Now everything will be recorded, so don't say anything bad. Set it to be safe. But let me fix this. So, all right, so this means the message was sent successfully. Now if I go to history, all right, this is what I get. So I'm getting, I don't know who is sending me those messages, but you might want to, you have to refresh. It's possible that you didn't get the changes on your app, that's why they're not saved here. So make sure you refresh. I forgot to add a back button, but let's add a back button. And let's test history. All right. All right. Yes, only nice messages.
Can you make a page poll? Can you make that page
Poll. Yes, you would just need to put some JavaScript to send the request every. I mean, that's done. It's 2 lines of JavaScript code, or even 1 line. They will send. So the key is that this is. I mean, this is sort of tooling to help you build apps faster on top of everything standard, right? So this is JavaScript. So everything you can do with JavaScript, right? You can obviously do here. You also get, as I mentioned, Apache Cordova is included automatically, and we're going to do this next, right? So everything you can do with Apache Cordova, all the access to all the APIs it gives you, you can, right? Of course, the thing is you won't be able to test on the device, on the browser anymore. You have to actually install the app, right? So, but I mean, hopefully you guys see the idea, right? I mean, this is a productivity tool, right? To allow you to build these apps faster. And I mean, we believe this is exactly the tool that the quotes that I showed you before. I mean, these people would love to have a tool like that where they can build these apps fast. And again, the key is we're building business apps, right? We're not building Angry Birds, right? These are content, kind of a form-based apps, right? Make sense? You guys excited? I'm going to come back, but there is a absolutely free plan, so you can always use it. But I'll come back if I just raise your hand to remind me. We'll go over it. All right. All right. So let's add a native API. All right. So I have that tester app right? You guys don't have it, but I'll show you. I'll get your bottle, right, to scan. Right, so what's a barcode scanner? It just scans a barcode, right? The idea is that, thank you. It will scan the barcode, right? And then we can, SMS the barcode, right? In general, you probably want to scan and then search a database with this barcode, correct? Because all we're going to get is this number here. The barcode scanner doesn't know what to do with it. But it will just show you how you can integrate native APIs. So let's go back, and I'm going to add another button here, and I'm going to say scan, and maybe I can add an icon such as something like this. So how do I add the barcode scanner service? So I go to service, and right here it says device service, and I'm going to select barcode. So if you guys work with PhoneGap or Apache Cordova, you guys know that Apache Cordova offers a lot more than just these 4 objects, right? So these 4, sort of the most popular ones, so we expose them as a service. And why expose them as a service? So you get the mapping feature. So you can map stuff from the service to the page, and then from page to the service, right? Everything else is still available to you. You would just need to invoke it directly via JavaScript, via the JavaScript API. So creating a service. Now, there's nothing for me to do here because it's based on existing API. So the service is done. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to say data, device. And now, for the input mapping, nothing for me to do also. All I'm going to do is just invoke the service. So but on the output, so I get 3 things. I get the text. This is the actual value that I scanned. Format has a list of different formats that it can scan. Right? Not very important right now. And then cancel will be either true or false, and that's if the user cancels the scan. So I'm going to take the text and map it to the text area. Right? So I want to text it. Right? And basically, that's all I need to do. I go back here. I just select the button, and I say invoke service. All right, that's all I need to do. Now, so I have this app. And it's very simple. I know you guys can't really see, but it's just a list of all my apps in my account. That's all there is. And then all I do is I tap the app and I click run. And it's going to download the app onto my phone, right? It's just going to be a few seconds, right? But this is the app, right? Exactly the same as in the browser, but now this is a hybrid app. And if I do scan, so you can see it open the barcode scanner. So let me try and scan this. All right, so I scan, and it got me a number, and then I'm going to say that and send. All right, now we can go to the database, click refresh, and so this is the value. This is the value that I just scanned. Again, it's just a number, obviously. Again, I would need to probably search, right? I would need to have a database available to me via REST API, search API, and I would pass this number, right? And I mean, the basic scenario is like right? It's a warehouse app of some sort, right? You scan an item, right? And then it tells you how many items you have left.
Do you have to install the barcode scanner in your phone as well?
It uses the camera. Yeah, so you don't have to.
No app required to install.
Not as far as I know. Yeah. So. All right, but let's see what let's see here. All right, so we did the app UI, we did the SMS integration, we did the message, we did the barcode. So now we're going to do this. All right, now we're going to add a server script to text. So this is kind of a fun thing. So we're going to use a server code script. And what this allows you to do, again, this is running on the Google's V8 JavaScript engine. It's, basically like a Node.js, right? I mean, in concept. And this allows you to write any custom logic you want on the server, right? Using JavaScript, and then it will be instantly invoked via a REST API. So the script is going to work like this. If you guys text a special word to the script, it's going to, and you have to use your number. You're going to text you back with the promo code to sign up. All right? But the script, I have it right here. It's a little bit more code, but I'm going to explain. So we're going to go back in services, server code, and I'm going to create a script. And I'm going to replace, this is just default. All right, so basically the way the script works is that it takes two parameters, the message, right, that it's looking for, and then of course the number. And you can see right here, if you guys text the word love, okay, it will actually text you back and with a promo code. But basically, this is just another way I'm invoking Twilio API. So in the example that I have now, I'm invoking the service from the client, right, from the browser. Now I'm invoking exactly the same service, but now from the server, right? And basically, this is my account ID, this is my token, this is the API, this is the from number, and this is the message. And right here, I'm saying, I'm doing an AJAX request, basically. All right? But the key here is that you can move a lot of the app logic or the business logic to the server, right? In many instances, it's more appropriate to run this on the server than on the client, right? And you can also schedule the script to run every 10 minutes, for example, right? So, again, example with the warehouse, right? So you can check the inventory. Let's say you run the script every day, right? And you check the inventory. If the inventory is low, you have a couple of options. You can send a text message to someone. Say, hey, this has happened. Or, for example, you can send a push message as well and say, hey, all right? But again, the server code really gives you almost unlimited possibilities what you can do. Now, we can also test the script here, right? So obviously, before you run it, you want to be able to test it. And so right here, we can test it, and we can just enter the parameters, which is message, and this will be number. So if I enter hello in my number, so it doesn't match the word love, obviously, so I should not have it will not send the message. And let me do, I can switch to get. And all right, so right, no match. And then if I go back, and they go, oh, I know. So I forgot one thing. So there is a function that I used to encode to base 64 string, and I forgot to include it. So there are libraries. Let me show you. So there are scripts and there are also libraries, right? And the script can depend on the library. And this is how, again, you can separate things into separate files. So this one, the basic one, that's where the base 64 function is. So I'm going to go back, open, and say dependencies. And I'm going to check a dependency and say, so this script is dependent on this library. Let's go back. And let's see, my parameter is still here. All right? So I just got the message. All right? So let's integrate this into our app. And again, we can generate the service automatically. So we go to server code services and promo code, right? And we get so we get the service, and actually it even puts the default values for me. which I'm going to delete. Let's go back here. We go to data. This is service. And this is and now we'll take the number and the message. All right? And of course, now we need to also get the order correct. So basically, once I save the message, for example, into the database, right, I would like to invoke this. So I go to save, and this mapping doesn't do anything, right? So I can actually delete it. And I can say invoke service, which is promo code. All right? So if you guys now refresh, right? So make sure if you enter your number, right? So you send that message to yourself, and then the service script will be invoked, and it will check. But you have to enter the word love in the message. It will check for the message, and it will reply, send you a text back with the promo code. Right? Make sense? You guys, but make sure you refresh to get the all right, did you guys get it? All right, so did you guys get the text? All right. Anyhow, so I mean, again, this is just an example that you can really do anything you want. I mean, right? You can do this stuff on the client, or you can do some custom logic on the server. All right. But now, for those of you who didn't run the app, I'm going to show you the promo link at the end as well. Right. So again, even if you didn't test the app, I will share the promo code with you, right? And use this promo code to sign up, right? And I'm going to come back to the pricing. All right? Do you guys like it? You guys don't seem very excited. Is it because it's last session? All right? But again, I mean, we're almost done. But this is again, we just built a real app, right? We have two pages. We use a third-party API, we use a cloud database, we use a server code, right? So, I mean, it's pretty amazing that we could do this all within, 30, 40 minutes, right? I mean, just imagine what you can do in a couple of weeks, right? I mean, obviously, you're not going to build an app in an hour and say, hey, I'm done. But this is, a first version will not take you 6 months or more. I mean, a couple of weeks, you can definitely get the first version out, and of course continue and make changes. Of course, you'll probably need to write some JavaScript. You can customize. You can write custom CSS if you would like, right? You can create custom themes. It's all possible. Okay, but as I promised, let's launch a binary for Android. But maybe before, let me quickly enable push for this app. Right, so I'll build a binary, right, and then we'll be done. So for the binary, what I need to do is I need to go to Google to the developer console, and I need this API key. All right, I need this API key, and I'm going to close here, and I'm going to push notifications, and I'm going to enable. And now we have to select the database, right? This is where the registration information will be saved. And this is the database that I want. And now I'm going to say play sound, show alert, and then the API key. This is the API key. And there's one more thing I need to get is the project. Let me just check. Was it this one that I use? No, I don't think it's the one. I think it's this one. No. So I have 3 projects. I wasn't sure which one I used. Well, it's fine. We'll use this one. So we'll take this API key. And then go back. So this is my push project. And get this ID. All right? But that's all I need to do. Let's go back to the app. And we'll launch a binary build. Right? So it's going to be a minute or so to build. Then again, those of you with Android devices, you guys can scan the QR code and install the app, and then I can send a push message to you.
Do you share the app with another developer via testing?
For development, yes. Yes, you can have any number of developers working on the app with you. Again, it's going to take a minute or so. So if you guys have any questions, because I am pretty much done. But let me, so we did this. We even enabled push. All right. The only thing I do want to mention, so Operate.io is a separate company, but there's a company behind it, right? So we are funded and backed by XRL, which is a large services and consulting company. All right. So just so you guys know. And we're based out of San Francisco. XRL is based out of San Francisco Bay Area. All right, so this is if you guys didn't test the app, right? So you can just use this link to sign up with the same promo code that you would get via the via text message, right? It's a shortcut, bit.ly. It's going to take you to the registration form right away. All right. So, and actually my build, my binary is done. And let me go back. All right, so this is the file, and let's scan it. So, all right. All right, so I downloaded the file, and but it didn't register the push for some reason. Let me check. If I go to my database, devices, nope. I probably need to rebuild it. Maybe I didn't save it. Well, we can try it again. Do you guys have any questions? I'll just try it again. But yes, let me just launch the build, and I'm going to open I'm going to talk about pricing. So. Yeah, let me reopen it. Well, let me open the pricing while we. Anyhow, so as I said, there's always a free plan, and all the plans have the same features. Right? There is also, we just introduced what's called the basic plan, so it's only $25 a month, and you can build one app. The promo code will give you 30 days of this plan. I mean, if you guys think you like it and need more time, shoot me an email. I'll give you more time. But obviously, I mean, we think and we believe that the value you get, the productivity that you get, I mean, this is really nothing compared to the productivity that you get. I mean, if you can deliver an app within a month or even 2 months versus 6 months, right? I mean, $50 or $60, that's absolutely nothing. All right, so again, the promo code, I'm going to come back to the slides. My email, it's very simple. It's max@apri.io. All right, so you guys always can shoot me an email. Let's see here. So it's loaded. Let me just make sure I set up the push correctly. Yeah, seems correct, but all right, so I'll launch the build again. Right, and again, thanks guys for coming. I know it was last session. And again, the thing I wanted to guys get out of the session is that again, the productivity and the speed with which you can build a mobile app, and it's a real mobile app, not just a Hello World mobile app, connected to a real API, right? We got a database, we got server code, we got even push, well, hopefully, but it works. All right, and if you guys have any questions, this is my information. All right, so don't hesitate to ping me if you guys have any questions. What's the difference to build the binary? It's actually just a standard Cordova app, like a PhoneGap app, right? It's a you got HTML, JavaScript, CSS inside a native wrapper. Yeah. So again, the result is just a standard, Cordova app that you would get exactly the same app if you were using, Notepad and just using, command line tools. Yeah, but you have access to it. You can export and you can yes. No, you can export. So right here, you can export the project if you want. Right here, you can export. Yeah, it's yours. I mean, if you you can take it and. Right, I'll try to. I'll see if it worked here. I'm sorry? Yeah, this is the second one. I'm going to try to see. I'm trying to get the push working, so. No, I might have messed up with the numbers. I have 3 projects there, but it still doesn't register for some reason. We can check. Yeah, it's possible because I have 3 projects here. I probably use a different, but it's okay. You guys believe me. Thank you.